Women are taught to romanticize taking care of men, right? Pack his suitcase, do his laundry, buy his mother a birthday gift, manage the kids, remember his appointments, hold the schedule, choose his clothes, clean up after him, keep his entire life functioning behind the scenes as smoothly as you can. And we call this functioning. We call this love. We call this being a good woman, right? You're nurturing. You're all the things that a man wants. You're supportive. You're feminine. That's just exactly what he wants because that benefits him. But what does that do to you? And all of this is happening and he gets called a leader? That makes absolutely no sense. That contradiction should bother women so much more than it does because so many women are married, but they're not in partnerships. They're overfunctioning for grown men who are perfectly happy to let them carry everything while they still expect admiration and authority. They call themselves alphas and leaders and providers when they are none of those things, but they still want all of your caretaking. They still want sexual access while they're acting like toddlers. I'm going to break down exactly how the patriarchy trains women to mother men and call it love, how this creates the perfect environment for weaponized incompetence and why some men just act so helpless while demanding leadership status. My name is Lisa Sonni. I'm a certified relationship coach, and I am an expert in toxic and abusive relationships. I've authored 5 books, and I have helped thousands of women exit and heal from abusive and toxic relationships with abusive men and king man babies like this. Hit subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this because on my channel, I expose what these men are doing and I help women finally see it. Now, what's really wild to me is that so many women are just trained to experience overfunctioning as love, right? So you look at something like little girls getting praised for being helpful and nurturing and anticipating someone's needs and being thoughtful and just making things easier for other people, particularly men. So when women start doing everything for men, yeah, it feels really caring, like taking care of your man and you get to be the little housewife and, you love it. When girls grow up and they become young women and they move in with the first guy, their college boyfriend, whatever, you start to see the imbalance in these relationships. It's especially problematic when some of these men go straight from their mommies to their wives. But even if there's a gap in between, it can still be very brutal. So many men know how to function. They functioned in that in-between stage. They functioned when they lived alone or lived with roommates, or they lived in squalor, but they functioned. And somehow when you come in, it's like, oh, here, finally, the person that's going to take care of my life for me. And it starts with small things like packing his bag for a weekend away or doing his laundry, helping him out, managing something, organizing his schedule, reminding him of his responsibilities, right? The little reminders to take the trash out or whatever the little things are that you've agreed that he'll take care of in the house. You remind him, you prompt him. And before anyone gets it twisted, right, we're not talking about these little occasional acts of care. Relationships are reciprocal. Women should help their husbands and husbands should help their wives, okay? We're all clear on that. Don't go getting this twisted. The issue is when it becomes expected and certainly not reciprocated, when it's one-sided, when everything she does is just invisible and part of the expectation. This is where love turns into labor. Now, men learn how to receive service, but they don't actually see it as labor. This is probably one of the biggest problems, and it really speaks to the entitlement. Men benefit from enormous amounts of invisible female labor, but this whole time, they're not psychologically registering it as work. That's why when you say women and men work outside the home at similar rates, women are doing more, they don't see it as anything. They don't care. The house just magically runs, right? The kids are managed and groceries just appear in the fridge. And then they, cook themselves, right? Appointments get remembered and made and birthdays happen and gifts get purchased and wrapped and given, even for his family. And all of this gets maintained for him because women are just expected to do this naturally, right? But the labor becomes completely invisible. And then her exhaustion is just like, what's your problem, right? That's just what women do. He expects it. But the patriarchy has convinced women that mothering grown adult men is love. I used to think it too. So many women did. And somehow, the patriarchy has also brainwashed men into thinking that receiving this labor is respect. That's why you so rarely hear a man use that word actually correctly, he has no idea what the definition of respect means. It's like following orders, compliance. This creates such entitlement so damn fast because the more she carries, he doesn't even have to notice. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if he says thank you. The fact remains she's doing all the work and he's just reaping the benefits of it. And it doesn't mean that some men are not contributing to some degree, but we all know that women are, in fact, contributing so much more in their households. So when her labor feels automatic, it's not valuable. It's not sacrificial, right? You don't even see it as exhausting. It's just expected. And then weaponized incompetence comes in and just thrives in this dynamic. Something that just has to be said because a lot of people may not understand what that phrase means. And truth be told, a lot of men willfully don't understand what that phrase means. Weaponized incompetence isn't when you've never had a discussion and she just has standards for doing something that have never been expressed and you are accused of doing it wrong. No. It is when you have agreed upon something, you've agreed who's doing a task or how a task gets done, and he pretends to be bad at it. It's something so unbelievably obvious that is so clear that any grown adult, possibly even a teenager, would be able to do, and he just pretends to be bad at it. I don't know why I need to keep repeating the pretends to be bad at it part, because so many people want to, insert an excuse here and say, well, maybe he just really doesn't know how to work a dishwasher, but he can work the lawnmower and allegedly all these men can change the oil. I don't understand. I see lineups around Jiffy Lube and all these men act like all men are changing their own oil in their own driveways. Some do, plenty don't. Plenty of women take their cars to Jiffy Lube. Weaponized incompetence is something that many men are doing on purpose to get their female partners to do it for them. So they're either pretending to be bad at it or making huge mistakes, costing the family time, money, energy, just so that they don't have to do these tasks. And then they hide it under tropes, under myths, like women are just nags, but they never want to talk about if they had just listened the first time. Women are expected to do this, right? Let's use dishes. Women are expected to do the dishes because women are, of course, better at doing the dishes. But when he does the dishes, if she has any type of feedback to say, hey, you're not really rinsing the plates well, or I notice you're just leaving them in the drying rack and you're not putting them away, suddenly she's a nag. But I love how she's the expert. She knows women are better at it, but when she gives you feedback, why is she being crazy? Why are her standards too high? Again, it doesn't occur to these men, or willfully doesn't occur to these men, that she actually does know how to do the task better because she is, in fact, doing it more. If he does a task badly enough, a woman will step in and do it. If he forgets enough time, you become the system in which he remembers anything, right? He doesn't have to remember, you tell him. The amount of women that say, hey, don't forget to take the trash out. Yeah, can you just remind me later? I'm telling you now. I shouldn't have to tell you now, and I definitely shouldn't have to remind you later. Men will act all confused, and then you stop asking. And women are trained to feel uncomfortable watching men struggle. But he's performing the struggle, but you're still swooping in to rescue. You're overfunctioning. You're swooping in and saving him from all the mistakes that he's going to make. Most likely because those mistakes actually affect you as well. Women take these tasks over because they want to be efficient. They want to not argue. They want to keep the peace. They want stability. They want relief from the endless arguments that these men will have. Meanwhile, he benefits every single time she rescues him. The reason that weaponized incompetence works is because women are conditioned to overfunction. But a man like this, he'll play helpless. He's not helpless. A man like this is comfortable. And this is actually really important because many of these men, right, they're fully capable at work. These are the same men that go on and on about changing oil and working on oil rigs and doing more dangerous jobs, that their work is so much harder. If their work is harder, then loading the dishwasher should be really easy, no? Then folding the laundry should be such a quick little task. They always downplay it, right?
Laundry's so easy.
Go for it then, Kevin. Go ahead. Do the laundry. You're not going to convince me that a man is a leader when he can't find his socks in the drawer. You're not going to tell me you're an alpha male and you need your wife to make an appointment for you. If you can't manage basic life tasks, you are not the leader. Absolutely not. You can't expect authority and admiration and act like a friggin' child. The contradiction matters, okay? We're not going to skip past the contradiction. Men want it both ways. To be more clear, abusive men want it both ways. Now, The leader fantasy that these men seem to live in, this falls apart very quickly because they want to say that they're the head of the household and alphas and all this, but you're running the house. You're managing the children. You're handling all of the emotional labor. He's the leader. You're the chief operating officer. Like, what is this? He's making what decisions? He doesn't even know what size shoes his kids wear. He doesn't know their teachers' names. He doesn't know what his own doctor's name is. He doesn't know what he likes to eat, but he's in charge. Where is the leadership? If we actually go back and you look at the definition of what a leader is, right? It makes people want to follow. You are authoritative and smart and collaborative. These men are not that. Authority without responsibility is not leadership. Dependency with an ego, also not leadership. Just want to be clear on that. So a man calling himself a leader while he needs women to tell him where his socks are, he's not a leader, he's a joke. He's a clown. And this is where the whole relationship can really blow up. Women start to feel like mothers, right? You're not a partner. And then desire dies because men are killing their own sex lives. In fact, I have many videos on that exact topic, how men are destroying their own bedrooms and then blaming women. How is it that a woman is supposed to feel attracted sexually, desire a man who can't manage anything, can't carry his life, she's cleaning up after him and treating him in the exact same manner that she is treating their children? How men expect women to parent them and then want to sleep with them is actually incredibly weird, and it is a topic that should be studied more. When a woman feels so responsible for a grown man to mother him and feed him and take care of him in all of these ways, and all he does is provide a paycheck, which again, in over 75% of homes, she is also contributing to the finances of the house and still doing more labor. But all of this, when he's made himself nothing but a paycheck, and then he's mad, of course, that you're treating him like a paycheck, but that's a whole other topic for a whole other video. But this changes attraction profoundly. Nobody wants to sleep with a dependent. And of course, you add in the entitlement and the coercion that often come with a man like this, and just, disgusting. I completely understand why women shut down. If your entire relationship depends on your overfunctioning to keep him stable and to keep everybody happy, pay attention to how much unpaid labor has now become your responsibility. Women often are also measuring their worth through this usefulness. This is part of the patriarchy, part of the conditioning, right? This hooks so deeply into how we feel needed and valuable and important, irreplaceable because he depends on you. It feels so good to be needed and depended on in a way, but then it goes to an extreme. Being needed isn't the same thing as being cherished and loved and valued. He's just dependent on you. And I remind you, like a child depends on their mommy. And when you stop doing this, when you finally wake up and you watch enough of these videos and you start to get fed up and you hit your own wall, you feel guilty because you stop wanting to carry everything. Women feel guilty leaving men like this because who's going to take care of him? His mother. I don't care. Himself. He'll figure it out. He's the leader, right? But here's the thing. You pull back, now you're going to get punished because now you're selfish and you're cold and you're unsupportive and you're nagging and you're mean. How dare you? You're in your masculine. Oh, you don't want to do the woman things. All these men that just love these traditional gender roles, right? And even the ones that claim they don't, men benefit from relationships with women. Do not forget that. Don't let men convince you. There's enough studies to prove all of the benefits that men get from being in relationships with women. Men benefit from bad relationships with women as well, not just the good ones. Abusive men become angry when women stop overfunctioning, right? Because think about it. Everything she's doing, it's actually holding up his comfort. It makes his life work. It makes his life easier. I will never forget this video I saw on TikTok, and this was not even satire. A man literally sat in his car and was like, where are all the good women? Where are all the traditional women with good values who just want to take care of their man? I don't want to go to the bank. I don't want to go to the pharmacy and pick up my prescription. I don't want to do my own laundry. You know who else sounds like that? My kids, my tiny little kids. It's unbelievable that a man would actually say that out loud and think, oh, wow, there's a woman out there that is just dying to go pick up your medication and run around and do errands for you. The whole relationship is already benefiting men so much. They want more and more. And the truth is, the good women of the past They are who told the younger women not to do that. They are the ones that warned the young feminists. This whole like modern feminism has gotten out of control. Every wave of feminism has been called a modern wave of feminism that's gotten out of control. We have not gotten loud enough. Feminism hasn't done enough. It's done lots, but it hasn't done enough. So his resistance is going to be so intense because he hates this. This isn't what he wants. He wants the benefits. And the patriarchy, man, it protects this dynamic so well because this is the conditioning, right? Women are called like natural nurturers and women are just better at multitasking and women mature faster than boys and women are just more emotionally intelligent and yet men are the leaders? It makes no sense. Men are told like, well, men are just like that or, men. What does that mean? Boys will be boys or, men, they're just clueless. If they're clueless, they're not leaders. They're not alphas. They're not heads of households. Why are they clueless and leaders? Explain that. Who wants to be led by some man-child cosplaying a leader? That's crazy. But this is an ideological setup, right? This is not some accident. This is the patriarchy functioning exactly as it was meant to. But in a healthy relationship, for those that don't know, shared responsibility, mutual care, reciprocity, right? Competence. Men are competent. What I find interesting is that so many people hear me say things like this, men specifically, mostly, and they'll be like, oh, you hate men. I love men. I think men are capable. These men think men are idiots. Look at how they talk about men, right? Oh, I don't know. Women are just better at working washing machines. What are you talking about? The tech leaders in the world are men primarily. Men can do lots of things. I promise. I promise you can learn how to work the washing machine, Steve. I promise. I have faith in you. I do. Come on. Like they can do it. We have to stop treating men like children. We have to stop letting them treat themselves that way. We have to allow men the freedom and frankly, the empowerment to be able to wash the dishes. Empower your husband to fold his own socks, please. Please let that be your takeaway. In a healthy relationship, a man is taking initiative and he doesn't even do any of these things. Okay, he has respect for you. Healthy partnership doesn't require one person to be the manager, the mother. That Paloma song is coming into my mind right now, right? It's so perfect. You can't be his maid, his therapist, his life organizer, and his mommy while he calls himself a leader. That is an oxymoron. Now, a lot of women are taught that taking care of men makes them a good woman. And so many men were taught to receive that labor without actually respecting the cost of it and what women are doing, what women are sacrificing to provide that labor. And that is why so many women wake up exhausted, overfunctioning, and resentful. That is why so many women wake up and realize they hate their husbands. They hate their boyfriends because women are carrying relationships and somehow we're all supposed to believe that men are leading. Please. Now, hit subscribe if you're not already because this is the kind of content that I make. I expose what abusive men are doing and I help women see these patterns so they can break free. And if you are ready to do the work, if you want to leave a relationship like this, if you want to dismantle the patriarchy that is living in you, you can work with me one-on-one or you can join my group coaching programs. I also want to invite you to join She Rises Collective. This is an online membership that I offer. I co-host it with Shelly Pumphrey, who is a licensed therapist, and she and I run and facilitate this group, this community of women online, where we are talking about ways to rebuild and heal. And we have monthly workshops that are deep dive tutorials. We have chat threads. We have guest speakers. We are teaching women how to show up for themselves and how to rebuild their identities. You can join She Rises Collective just starting at $15 a month. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.